Imagine two nations locked in a rivalry so intense that the fate of millions hangs in the balance. Iran and Israel, two countries whose mutual animosity threatens not just regional stability, but the delicate fabric of global peace. Each day, their leaders trade accusations and threats, their armies prepare for battle, and the world watches, wondering if the next spark will ignite a war that engulfs more than just the Middle East. How did it come to this? To understand the present, we need to trace the tangled roots of hatred and fear. From unexpected friendships in the past, through revolutions and proxy wars, all the way to today's shadowy nuclear standoff. Decades ago, few could have predicted the current hostility between Iran and Israel. In the years following World War II, and right up through the late 1970s, the two nations were, in fact, unlikely partners. Iran, then ruled by the Shah, saw Israel not as an enemy, but as a valuable ally in a hostile region. The two countries cooperated closely, sharing intelligence, trading goods, and forging deep economic ties. Iranian oil flowed to Israel, and Israeli expertise made its way to Iran. Behind closed doors, their leaders met and strategized, bound by the shared interests of security and survival in a turbulent Middle East. But in 1979, everything changed. Iran erupted in revolution. The Shah, who had ruled for decades with Western support, was overthrown. In his place rose a new regime, one founded on the principles of Islamic theocracy. The Ayatollah Khomeini and his followers saw the world through a very different lens. For them, Israel was not a partner, but a symbol of Western corruption and occupation, a state whose very existence was an affront to their religious and political ideals. Overnight, Iran's policies shifted. The new government severed all ties with Israel, denouncing it as illegitimate and calling for its destruction. Anti-Zionism became a pillar of Iranian state ideology. This shift was not just rhetorical. Iran began to funnel support to groups committed to Israel's destruction. Hezbollah, the Shiite militant group in Lebanon, was born with Iranian backing and trained to strike at Israel's borders and citizens. Direct war, however, was not Iran's chosen path. Instead, it fought Israel through proxies, spreading its influence and support across the region. In Lebanon, Hezbollah grew into a formidable force, launching rockets and raids into northern Israel. In Gaza, Iran provided funds and weapons to Hamas, fueling a cycle of violence and retaliation. In Syria and Iraq, Iranian-backed militias operated in the shadows, harassing Israeli interests and destabilizing the region. Israel, for its part, responded with a mixture of open and covert force. Airstrikes targeted weapons convoys and militant leaders in Syria and Lebanon. Cyber attacks, some of the most sophisticated in history, sought to cripple Iran's capabilities. Israeli intelligence agencies, especially the Mossad, undertook daring operations, including the assassination of Iranian nuclear scientists and sabotage of critical infrastructure. At the heart of this shadow war lies perhaps the most dangerous issue of all: Iran's nuclear ambitions. Israel views the prospect of a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat, a red line that cannot be crossed. Iran insists its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes, but its ongoing enrichment of uranium, secret facilities, and rejection of international inspections have fueled deep suspicion. Over the years, Israel has taken extraordinary measures to halt Iran's progress. The Natanz nuclear facility has suffered mysterious explosions and cyber attacks, most famously the Stuxnet virus, which crippled centrifuges and set back Iran's program by years. Each time, Iran rebuilds, vowing never to yield. The world watches as the so-called red line inches closer, knowing that a miscalculation could trigger catastrophe. Why can't these two nations simply talk? The answer lies in deep-seated mistrust and ideology. Iran sees Israel as a foreign outpost, an artificial creation of Western powers, imposed on the region and propped up by American military might. For Iran's leaders, opposition to Israel is not just policy, it's a core part of their identity and legitimacy. On the other side, Israel regards Iran as the world's leading sponsor of terrorism, governed by a radical regime openly committed to its annihilation. For both countries, the enemy is useful at home. Iranian leaders use anti-Israel rhetoric to unite factions and distract from domestic troubles. Israeli leaders highlight the Iranian threat to justify defense spending and maintain public vigilance. The result is a frozen diplomatic landscape. Official channels are closed, back channels are few, and the rare attempts at dialogue are quickly smothered by mutual suspicion. So here we are, decades after that unlikely friendship, standing on the brink of disaster. The hatred between Iran and Israel is not just a matter of harsh words or isolated incidents. It is a living, breathing force, shaping the politics, economies, and security decisions of both nations. Each missile strike, each cyber attack, each assassination brings the world one step closer to a conflict that could spiral out of control. The nuclear question hovers like a shadow. If either side miscalculates, the consequences could be unimaginable, not just for the Middle East, but for the entire world. The question facing Iran and Israel is not, when will they talk? It's far more urgent and profound. Can they afford not to? As tensions rise and the world watches, the stakes have never been higher. In a game where one wrong move could unleash devastation on a scale not seen in generations, the need for restraint, wisdom, and dialogue is greater than ever. History has shown that today's enemies can be tomorrow's allies, but only if both sides find the courage to break the cycle and choose a different path. Until then, the world holds its breath, hoping that reason prevails over hatred, and that the next headline is not the one we all fear.